Hey, thank you for tuning into another edition of Meet the Bloggers, the hashtag SHRM18 edition. And I'm joined by a blogger friend that I've known for probably the longest since I've been in the blogger community, Michael Vandervort. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Hey, Joey, I'm doing well. How are you today?
Not too bad, man. I'm a little jealous though, because you said you were in Florida for 10 days. So
Yeah, well,
I'm,
it
I'm
was
trying to work on my tan. So what were you doing in Florida?
some 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 of it was work and some of it was some play. I got to go to the big thrill was I got invited to go to the first game of the first round of the playoffs between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the New Jersey Devils, and then
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're a big
and
hockey fan, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm a big hockey fan, and then so I got invited to go as someone's guest, which was cool. We had seats like 10 rows up from the ice at the center line, so they were awesome. And then I went back for the fifth game and watched the Lightning close the Devils out in the first round. So it's the first time I'd been to hockey games in a couple of years, and it was good. And then there's the usual sun and beach and that kind of stuff that we got a little bit of in Florida. So yeah.
For sure. For sure. So you're basically gonna hop on the road and travel wherever the Lightning play. Is that what I is that
Yeah,
what's
I could wish, but no. I'll watch it on TV for the
going on? Okay.
rest, probably. Yeah. So
All right. Nice. Well, so I know you are the executive director at Q Inc.
right.
For those of us that are tuning in for the first time, this is the Meet the Blogger session. So this is all about you. Talk to us a little bit about your work at Q, how long you've been there, and why you enjoy it.
Sure. So Q is an interesting organization in that we most people in the HR space will not have heard of us. We're a small business services nonprofit, and we basically work with employers who want to practice positive employee relations in the workplace. And so we have about 250 members. Q has been around. The full name of our organization is a mouthful. It's Q Inc., an organization for positive employee relations, but it gets shortened to Q most of the time. And we've been around, this is our 41st year. We have about 250 companies that are members. Most of them are some of the leading companies, with many of Fortune 500 size, but we also have a lot of smaller ones. And they cut across all kinds of business verticals from healthcare, manufacturing, retail, distribution to power generation and technology and even restaurants and hotels. So it's kind of an interesting mix. And in fact, we just did our conference. We have two conferences every year. We just did one. That's why I was in Tampa. We did our spring conference and we had about 350 people there who registered and came into Tampa for 2.5 days. And we covered a bunch of, kind of like labor and employee relations topics. So you have to be sort of a nerd to, in that area to, it's not like talent acquisition and it's not like, the big SHRM show where they try to cover everything under the sun. But we had the general counsel of the National Labor Relations Board as a speaker. And we had a guy who just argued a major labor case in front of the Supreme Court as a speaker, and a number of other people, including companies like Ultimate Software, sent speakers. So it's quite a mix. We just kind of stick to that one little slice of our HR pie, and I've been doing it for 3.5 years. I took the job because I was working at Publix Supermarkets, which is down in Florida. My
Man,
old
I
boss.
love Publix. They're
Yeah.
like the best grocery store ever, besides
Hey,
Wegmans. But Publix is amazing.
Wegmans had some folks at our conference. My former boss at Publix, actually was our opening keynote on Tuesday morning, and he did a great job talking about Publix culture and kind of the things that make them a unique employer. They're the largest employer in the state of Florida. They're the largest privately held employee-owned company in the U.S., and they've been on the Great Place to Work list every year since it was created. So just a few of their minor awards that they've won over their almost 90-year history. Anyway, I was a member of Q through Publix and had gone to some of these conferences, and the guy that was my predecessor, whose name was Charlie McLean, announced he was going to retire back in 2014. And I was kind of looking for a little bit more work-life flexibility, wanted to live in Georgia rather than Florida, and just something different. And so I applied for this job, and got hired, much to my surprise. I actually didn't think that would happen. and so for the last 3.5 years, my job has to been kind of take the legacy that Charlie and a couple guys before him created of this, small niche labor relations group, and kind of bring their conference experience into the 21st century. Not that we suck, but there were a lot of differences between the way that they did it 5 years ago and the way we're doing it now, from using technology and creating more events for the millennials and the Generation Z and whatever else is coming out of the hills on the horizon there for
We're running
the
out of
next.
letters, man. I mean, we're already at Z. We're
Yeah,
gonna have to create a whole nother alphabet or system to.
it's crazy. We're gonna have to number them, or flags or something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Emojis. We're gonna have to do
maybe
emojis. This is
maybe
the winky face emoji generation.
exactly. Maybe,
After Z.
maybe we could just keep just calling people and employees and associates and partners and whatever.
What a novel idea.
Take it from a, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it gets a little crazy. So anyway, Q. So the conference was great, and Q is kind of my passion job, I guess, because it lets me work with a lot of companies that do really cool stuff, and not in a consulting way, but in helping create networking and educational opportunities. And so that's like my day job, and it fits really well with the social media and the kind of stuff that I did before that I was at Publix, and really kind of what I love doing now.
Yeah.
For SHRM, like we're talking about with the blog squad. So we'll bring it back to SHRM. I'll just finish up real quick. I have 30 plus years in HR, about half of it in unionized or facilities with collective bargaining agreements, and the rest not so much. So I've been on both sides of that fence, and it seems an area that I always got drawn into because I was fascinated. Grew up in Detroit, fascinated by the UAW and the labor relations in the 70s. And anyway, it's a lot different now.
Wait. That is and I'll give you a second to position your camera. I can see your thumb a little bit.
Oh yeah, sorry, and I'm holding my hands up like I'm praying. I know this is that better?
That is much better. Yeah.
Okay.
But you said as a young person you were excited about labor, and then the unions. That's kind of a unique fascination. So what was it that you were experiencing back then to?
So we lived in Detroit, and at the time, I can remember. I'm old enough, 60. The plus side of 60. That a buddy of mine's dad owned a gas station, and we used to pump gas at the gas station. So like we used to run out because it was fun to pump people's gas, and this was in the days when they still pumped gas, as opposed to the customer does it, right? And I remember the first time a Honda ever pulled into the gas station, and it was this little it looked like a motorcycle or a toy car, right? It was one of the first exports in the Detroit area, and that has nothing to do with labor unions, but that was kind of like everybody was laughing and like, oh, those cars will never make it. Go forward. But living in Detroit, like in my neighborhood, I lived in sort of a middle, like maybe partially white collar, partially blue collar suburb of Detroit. And literally, like when parents would, like if somebody would move new into the neighborhood, they would ask the parents, like they'd say, where do you work? Ford, Chrysler, or GM? Because people worked other places, but that was kind of the place,
The main employer, right?
Yeah. And then the next question was, are you management or union? And so anyway, it was just part of growing up in that part of the, in that era, in that part of the country. And my dad was in management, not at an auto company. And, but he used to come home and read through labor relations grievances and stuff. I'd read them and go like, what the hell? I was because I was like 15 wondering what was going on in the workplace, so it was a weird curiosity. So that's how it got started. And I was going to go to law school, and then I decided to get married and have a kid, and derailed law school and wound up going to get my master's degree in labor and industrial relations. So
nice.
Made a career out of it.
Nice. So now, if someone catches you and they're from the Detroit area, if someone sees you at the conference, if they're from the Detroit area or interested in unions, now they've got their starter conversation, because
exactly
that's your niche.
Exactly. And at the conference, so this will be, I guess, my, I don't know, sixth or seventh time doing this for SHRM. And I think it's great. I mean, the stuff that SHRM has done over the last 7 or 8 years in terms of moving into social media and embracing all these new technologies and all us crazy people who podcast and video cast and some people who don't even have blogs. I think they've really done a great job. So kudos to
Yeah,
them.
for sure. And you've got a podcast as well. Let's talk about that.
I do. So we're doing. So you were a guest
Yes, I
not
was.
too long ago, and I'm kind of answering in reverse almost some of the same questions for you that I asked you. You know, which is
The roles are reversed now.
it's a simple shift. So my podcast, which is literally an audio podcast, I don't have to worry about where your thumbs are or any of that kind of stuff. The face made for radio, that the old joke. So yeah, so the podcast is called Drive Through HR, and it was actually created by a longtime friend of mine named Brian Wempen, probably about 8 years ago, and then kind of carried forward through William Tincup and Crystal Miller and Nisha Raghavan and myself, some other folks. And right now, I'm the only one that's doing anything with Drive Through. But as you know, Joey, one of my contribution to SHRM was very similar to what you're undertaking, which is to interview as many of the SHRM blog squad. I hate that name. They need a catchier title because we're not bloggers really anymore. But anyway,
Yeah, like it's got to be something like multimedia or something because you're right. We're on social, we're on blogs, we're on audio, we're on podcasts, we're on YouTube. We're really diverse in how we're covering the conference.
Multimedia International Task Force on SHRM or something like that. I don't know what that
Mints.
spells. Yeah, mints. So anyway, yeah. So I'm doing on the pod. Yeah, keep your hands out of the picture. I can't see your face. Hey, no. So I've done about 22 shows or 24 shows, and I think there were 63 bloggers. So
Nice.
we still have. I saw yesterday 52 days to go until the event starts. So I'll probably get about half of the bloggers done by the time we get to Chicago. And
Cool.
basically, I've been doing what you're doing. What's your plan for Chicago? You know, what's some tips and so on. And it's been really cool because a lot of the people that I've done the podcast with, for many of them, it was the first time they ever did a podcast, and many of them are new to the SHRM blog squad and new to me. I hadn't met them before, so it's been great to kind of connect with some new people. The other really fun part was I also got to have some old friends on, and I hadn't been doing the podcast for a while, so it's also great to like reconnect and rekindle those relationships. Kind of in advance of seeing everybody in person in Chicago in June. So
yeah, awesome, man. Well, so this isn't your first rodeo at SHRM or in Chicago. So, what advice would you give for first-time attendees to the SHRM conference and people it's their first time in Chicago?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a whole litany of lists and blog posts out there, but so a couple things that I would really, I was amazed at how many of the blog squad have not ever been to Chicago, because I grew up in Detroit and Chicago was just like next door, so we were over there all the time,
Right.
So Chicago is a wonderful city. Chicago has great mass transit with trains and the L and all this kind of stuff. Great museums, great food, great parks. The Lake Michigan beach is there. None of that is immediately by McCormick Place. I mean, I guess you can see the lake from the building, but you can't really go down to the beach. But yeah, take some time to explore the city. I love the architectural river tour. It's one of my favorite things to do. I've probably done it half a dozen times, and it's like you go out on a boat and they take you all through the city on the rivers, and they talk about the buildings and their history, and every docent on the boat has their own kind of wrap on it, and so you learn something different every time, even though it's the same trip. I really enjoy it. And I know pizza. Yeah, you got to get some pizza. You got to go to a restaurant called Portillo's where they have Chicago style beef sandwiches. You got to get that. Pizza. I guess my favorite is probably what's the name? Gosh, It's not Donati's, but so Pizzeria Uno is good, and there's another one, Giordano's. That's the one.
Giordano's, yeah, that's the spot.
Giordano's
That's
is
the
yeah.
that's the
I'm
one.
like
Yeah.
Rosati's. That's up the street here in Atlanta. So anyway, memory. Yeah. So no, Giordano's is really good. If you, but some people don't like that deep dish pizza, but it's great. So on the other side of it is clothes, shoes, be smart about what you wear because it can be cold and you walk a lot. You'll get your 10,000 steps per day in for sure at SHRM. And, but come prepared to meet people, come prepared to talk. The blog squad is there because SHRM wants us to help spread the word and meet people. So, and we want to meet you. So if you see us, please say hi. If somebody watches this video and recognizes my face, yeah, please say hi. I'm not famous. Well, I might be HR famous, whatever that means, but I'm definitely not rich and I definitely don't have an ego. So love to meet people and definitely want to, have a chance to shake your hand and say hello. So.
Awesome. Well, hey, Michael, thanks for coming on, man. How about you plug your blog and social accounts one more time, and any
Yeah,
other parting thoughts that you want to share?
sure. So the blog, my blog, it's so there's two places I write. One is for the job. So that website is cueinc.com. And if you want to hear about labor relations issues or Tesla having problems in the workplace and that kind of stuff, go there. And my personal blog is just my name, which is Michael Vandervort, VANDERVORT.com. I don't write there as much. And then I'm on Twitter a lot at Mike Vandervort. So find me all those places. And
Yeah.
I try to tweet out useful stuff to people and connect. So thanks,
Awesome.
Joey.
Awesome.
All right. Take care.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, hitting the subscribe button on the page, and check out some more videos while you're here. Thanks.